Click the link in the description for your free AMSOIL catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing. Search for them on Facebook. The historic Lancaster Motel for the ultimate Eastern trail riding adventure. Crane's Snowmobile Museum at 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The Bridge Street Garage Racing Team, the house racing team of the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, this could be your advertising message. Well, good evening and welcome to Season 3 of the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast. Can you believe we're going into a third season with the podcast? I find that really exciting, and if you're here, I'm hoping that's the case for you as well. Hope you all had a great summer. We had a good summer on this end, and I'm really excited to start the new season. We've got a lot of really cool things planned for the upcoming season. I'm going to be doing this all the way through March. Before we get started, we got Rob waiting for us in the green room. We're going to bring him on in just a moment, but before we get started, I want to make sure that everything is working properly. So if you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to make a comment. Let me know what you did over the summer. Also, whether you can see us and hear us okay, and also whether you're a regular viewer or a first-time viewer. So let's take a look at some comments. We've got some coming in here. We've got, our friend David at Alaska Railroad. He says, yes, the Sled Podcast is back. He loves snow machines. And David, I'm hoping you caught the Muscle Car Podcast last night. If you didn't, it's worth going back for a look because we had a Monte Carlo project car on there that I'm sure you're going to love. David also says he has plenty of cool photos to share. We are very much looking forward to that. Also, regular viewer Brian Van Haverbeek says, glad to see us back. Looking forward to another fun season. David from Alaska Railroad also says hi to Rob, who we're going to bring on here in just one moment. A couple more comments and we'll bring Rob on. I don't want to keep him waiting any longer. David Lowry says, really excited for the new season. Welcome from Alberta, Canada. Cool deal. And one more comment here. We're going to bring Rob on. Stacy and Art Fosler, regular viewers of both the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast and the Muscle Park Podcast, which we very much appreciate. They say everything sounds good, and they're in Plattekill, New York, regular viewers. All right, let's bring our friend Rob on here. Rob, how you doing tonight?
Hello, Mike. How was your summer?
Oh, it was great. Great. How about you?
Busy. You know, I got so busy this summer, I haven't even put the snowblower away from last year. It's still sitting on the side of the house.
Wow, nice. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Cool deal. Cool. So we were talking before we went on. It sounds like you're just about to make the transition of putting the boat away and getting the snowmobiles ready.
Yeah, this is our Canadian Thanksgiving, so we got one more trip on the boat around the lake and park it, and then get the docks out of the way and get the snowmobiles ready before the snow starts falling. So, winter's going to come soon.
Yeah.
Some of my friends were out hunting and they seen snow already this year.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. No kidding. Yeah, we've been getting some frost here the last week or so, and it's only going to get. We're only going to see more of that for sure. Let's see. We've got another comment that's come in. We've got John Wernsdorfer from Eastern Shore, Virginia, regular viewer and a cat guy, a fellow cat guy. Very cool. Yeah. Thank you, John, for being on. We appreciate it. So let's take a look at what we're doing tonight. Item number 1 is a video that I did with a friend of mine last fall. This is a good friend of mine, lives nearby, and he's got an incredible Rupp collection. This is a 2-part video. We're going to watch part 1 right now and the second part at the end of the podcast. Let me get that queued up. There's no need to really say much about it because his sleds are going to speak for themselves. Let's get this going here.
So what we have here is a 78 last year that Rupp was in business, I guess, before they defunct. But this is a 78 440 Nitro. It's the exact same sled as the 77. The only difference was the seat cover was changed a little bit. The dash is basically changed. They moved the gauges a little bit. They moved the key in the chokes, not nearly as friendly. And this has got, and the hood was different. As you can see, this is different than the 77 over there. You notice this grill thing. Basically all they did was cut that out and put that in versus that over there. Now this sled, those were not, that's kind of a custom decal job that I had on there. This sled has, it's the same engine, same running gear. From what I understand, these are just the parts that were left to be sold, left over. They just changed those few items. At this point now, from what I understand, Arctic Cat was now assembling the soon-to-be doomed company. So Arctic Cat assembled these sleds. And yeah, my friend Dave Hunt made these decals, put them on there. I handed in the hood, and I just told him go ahead and just make it look kind of cool. Gave him an idea. It's sort of what I wanted done.
Yeah, it looks good.
And it's not all correct, but then again, the sled is not totally correct either. This one here was another pretty good project. Totally had to rebuild the motor. The skid, I put new Hyfax in it, new shock. You can see that I had the exhaust powder coated. Had to rebuild the engine, 2 pistons, seems to be a common thing. Had the cylinders bored. It does have these are new old stock panels. When we say panels, we're talking about the sides and the belly pan and the other side, of course. On these sleds, on the Nitros, this is kind of a cool feature. Rupp decided that this would be to help cool the engine. You notice there's water that goes through that. So in the wintertime, when you're out riding, your hands get cold, you can literally get out and put your hands on the bumper.
Oh, these are warm. Wow.
And it does help. There's no denying it. It is a significant help for the cooling.
And on the front, these ridges collect air to help keep it cool.
Granted, when you're traveling, if you're following somebody, they're always spitting snow up.
Yeah.
So that is a very kind of a cool thing about them. I'm surprised how strong those bumpers are, because this is actually a new bumper. This is a new old stock bumper that I got for it, and but they're strong as hell, because when you put them on, you're trying to bend them a little bit to get them to fit. You know, These are all fiberglass, and it's like you got to wrestle like hell to get them to move.
And if you get it stuck, it's strong enough you could lift on it?
Sure, yeah. But it's mounted right to the bulkhead. There's some supports on the inside that hold it up. I mean, I don't want to climb a tree with the thing.
Sure. And it would give you some protection in a collision too?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Unlike that one or my Magnum over there.
Sure, yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah,
Doesn't make
just
you wonder.
fiberglass, yeah.
I do think if I want to make a trail sled of that, how the hell are you gonna? You run into a snowbank? How are you gonna get out of there with that thing? You know,
Yeah,
I'm
good
on
point.
Skis, but that's about it.
Yes.
But these sleds were roughly 80 horsepower, and I had no reason to go any faster. But I've had this thing going 80 miles an hour.
That's plenty fast, yeah.
They were like the first company to have the motor set forward versus back here. You know, in previous years, see what I'm talking about? The
Yes.
motor set forward versus
Sure.
sitting in front of your face.
Yeah.
And it gives it a much better balance and handling. And these things go great. I mean, like I said, my wife enjoys running these things way more than my new Polaris.
Nice.
Yeah. So the difference between like I said, this would have been the 78. That one's a 77. That one on the end is a 76. The motor was different in the 76. Horsepower rating was a little less. Different block, if you will. I mean, the case is different. The cylinders are different. There's not very many interchangeable parts for that engine to these, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
And, the style of the sled is the same, and the same width, same weight, and all that. I mean, I've ridden them, all three of them, obviously, and that one goes equally as well. I'm just, those are the differences.
Sure. Cool deal. What'd you think of that, Rob?
Oh, he knows his reps, doesn't he?
Oh,
I
for
don't
sure.
think I've ever seen one with the rad on the front like that.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
that is.
Yeah.
And I don't know of any other brands that did anything like that.
No.
I've never seen anything like that. You're right. It's truly unique. And from what he says, it worked very well.
Yeah.
And because one of the concerns I had too is if you do get that stuck and you start yanking on that, is it going to hold up? And he said it was very, very rigid and it wouldn't be an issue, he didn't think.
Oh, most rads are quite strong.
Yeah. Very cool.
And we have an asphalt drag machine that we have a heat problem with because we don't have no rads in it. So all we have is just a reservoir. That's it. Something like that would give us a little bit extra cooling we can make it back to the pits without towing it.
Yeah, maybe do some kind of custom fabricated radiator across the front there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, if you were enjoying that and felt that we cut it short, that's exactly what we did. I like to keep the videos under 5 minutes, but we've got part 2 at the end of this podcast where we're going to continue the conversation with him. Also, I'm working with him. He and I have been messaging. I'm going to be going up there here sometime in the next week or so because I saw that he had a sled at the Pittsburgh show. And let me show you the sled. What do you think of that? So I want to go up there and do some more video on that sled and some of the other sleds that we didn't get to on that other visit that we were just looking at. So very much looking forward to that. So where are we now? We're on item number 2. Time for some announcements. We're going to give Rob a chance here to talk about AMSOIL. I just have to find my place here. I'm using a different interface than I use with the Muscle Car podcast. So everything's foreign to me, but yeah, if you wanted to go into this for us, Rob.
Okay, Mike and I are both AMSOIL dealers, and if anybody's interested in becoming a preferred customer with AMSOIL, you can sign up under Mike. His email's on here, his phone number's on here, and by becoming a preferred dealer, you get the best possible price to buy the product. You save over 25%. Anybody orders over $100 worth, get it shipped to them free. You get 25% off on your birthday. They give you a $5 coupon. If you buy so much, they give you another $5 coupon to help pay for your membership when it's time to renew. But right now, until October the 11th, they're offering anybody who orders $75 or more, they're going to give you 3 of the shop rags, just like these ones.
Let me change screens. There we go. I'm going to put you full screen so we can get a real good look at that.
Yeah, AMSOIL shop rags. There we go.
Sweet.
Yep. So if you order $75 worth, they send you 3 of these free with your order. So you also save 25% on the product. You're getting a great deal on the product, and you're getting some free products from AMSOIL for purchasing them. And if you want a catalog, at the end of the email, Mike's got a thing you click on and you can get a free catalog, tell you about all the products we do have available.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you said, just look in the description. There's links for free catalogs and to sign up for the preferred customer program and to order whatever you need to do. There are links for it there in the description. And we thank you in advance for your support because, as he mentioned, I'm signed up under Rob. So if you order through me, Rob and I both benefit, and the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing this podcast. So I thank you in advance for that. If you buy AMSOIL through us, you're doing an enormous amount to help with this podcast to keep it going, because there are expenses related to this, which I'm happy to pay. I love doing this, but it's not cheap. But we've got some more comments that have come in, and we're going to continue here with some more announcements. Let's see. We've got Mark Gasso. Looking forward to another fun season. And thank you so much, Mark. We had a lot of fun last season with you. You came on one time, and also we were able to, he had some old snowmobile magazines from the 70s that he was willing to sell to me. So we agreed on a price, and he sent me about 70 magazines, and I'm going to be taking some shots from that and popping those on the screen here throughout the season. Looking forward to that as well. David from Alaska Railroad says, loves that Magnum. One of those, this is one of his need to have sleds for sure. Stacy and Art Fosler says he had a 72 Nitro 400 and he wishes he never got rid of it. I know that feeling. Cool deal. Cool deal. So over the summer, I got a lot of emails. People asking questions about, technical questions and availability questions, things like this. So I'm going to pop them on the screen to see if anyone has answers for these people. And I've messaged them to let them know I'm going to be doing this tonight. So for the people who have asked the questions, post a comment in here so people can see you. And that's a good way for you to get a conversation started if someone has an answer for you. So Greg Jansak says, do you have any pictures of a David Bradley snowmobile? It was a real beast. And I apologize. I've never heard of David Bradley, but I'm very intrigued. If anyone knows anything about David Bradley, any kind of a backstory about what makes him unique or notable, please leave some comments here. And especially if you have some images, please share it with us here at the podcast. I'm going to pop my email address on the screen. Yeah, right here. Okay. But I'm going to keep that up while we're doing the rest of these questions. So yeah, if you have an answer to that, make a comment here in the comment section, and Greg will see that. Also, Jamie Pasco says, hello, looking for a good running Sachs KM 914A or KM 914B motor, a complete motor. So if you know anything about a motor like that, leave a comment here in the comment section. I'm going to ask Jamie to also leave a comment as well as Greg, so that people can find you if they have answers for you and want to get in touch with you. Sean Farr says he's looking for a 1970 MK2 ski boost windshield. Any idea where to look? So if anybody has information on a windshield for a ski boost 1970, please make a comment here in the comment section. Stephen Bodie says, any old pictures of a speed sled called Bunky's Toy? It's powered by two PSI 474cc triples around the 1988 era. Also, the sled and race owner, he believes, were from Minnesota. I'm curious about this too. Powered by two engines, two triples. That sounds like quite a beast. I'd like to see that. So if anybody knows anything about that, either send me an email or leave a comment here in the description, and we'll get a conversation started about that. Lastly, or next to last, I apologize. Stephen Piffer says, can you please help me out with engine parts to rebuild a Kohler K295? The model number and the spec number are on the screen there, or tell me who know about this. So if anybody knows where he might find an engine like that, please leave a comment in the comment section. And also to all of the people who have posed these questions, please make a comment in the comment section so people can see you to reach out to you about this. So the last one we've got a really cool image from Kevin Lowther. Now this is a vintage snowmobile image from I think the late 60s or early 70s. He's got some information here. I'm going to pop the screen with the information. I'm going to read it, and then we'll pop the image again so we can put it all into proper context. So this image was taken in a small mountainous town of Helvetia, West Virginia, guessing about the mid-60s to early 70s. In the town, there was a small grass landing strip, and the planes are all small cubs or pipers, and they belong to three friends that spent a lot of time together. They're all of these planes are equipped with skis. not quite sure, but he thinks someone in the party had a hunting camp there at one time, and the vintage sleds were kept at the. Oh, that's where the vintage sleds were kept at that time. A celebration to cast out winter is a traditional festival that's held there every year, and that brings in several people in the small village for that weekend for food, dancing, outdoor events in the Swiss-German tradition. Quite a time to his understanding. Spring is welcome there because the winters can be quite brutal. And yeah, so thank you so much to Kevin. Let's take another look at that image now that we've talked about it, so we can kind of put that in its proper context. And yeah, thank you so much to Kevin for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it. All right, so we are on item number 3. Also over the summer, our regular viewer, Spencer Delabruere, sent us some images from the Arctic Cat 60th anniversary event that happened over the summer. Let me cue that up, and we're going to take a look at that event. Yes, sorry. Thank you. I had shut my mic off during the during the during that montage. But yeah, thank you so much to Spencer Delabruere for those images. I put that into a little montage there that we can all enjoy. Thoughts on that, Rob? Oh, okay. Can anyone else hear me?
Hear me now, Mike?
Yes, much better.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right.
Just gotta
Sorry
turn the
about
volume
that.
up.
Gotcha. Sorry about the confusion on that.
I think my headphones went dead.
Gotcha. No problem at all. Anything jump out at you in that montage or
Oh,
from
I
that
love Arctic
Arctic
Cats.
kind of it? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have any of their EXTs, the snowcross racers, and all that they had.
Yeah.
Because Arctic Cat, well, Tucker's Machine, everybody like that were big snowcross.
Yes. Good point. They
probably were there.
It's very likely, yeah, because I understand that was a big event, and if anyone else was there that it was either able to take images or video, we would love it if you could share that with us for all of us to enjoy here on the podcast. And I enjoyed everything that was on there, but one of the things that I noticed was that tractor trailer. I don't know if I saw that in a magazine or on YouTube. I'm not, or Facebook or something, but apparently that's a semi truck from the late 70s or early 80s, and they used to deliver Arctic Cats to I imagine dealerships or go to shows with it, and someone restored that. And I'm fuzzy on the details, so don't quote me on any of that. If anyone knows more about that than I do, I would love to hear about that. There might be a story there. I'd love to find that out.
Who does own the Boss Cat now?
No idea. If anybody knows anything about that too, we would love to hear about that. Especially if you know the person and maybe could put them in touch and we could do some video with them, or I'd love to get that on the podcast at some point to find out firsthand from the current owner what the story is on that.
Yeah.
for sure. Have you ever seen that in person at shows or anything? Or
I think I was at an event that it was supposed to show up and run at, and we got there late, so we missed it.
gotcha.
But there was about 7 other machines similar to that was going to be there running.
Yeah, sweet. Now we've got a comment that's come in. David from Alaska Railroad said he sent me an email on a David Bradley said. Outstanding. So I will keep that and forward that to the person who was asking. And I apologize, I don't remember the name of the person that was asking me. If it's not in front of me, having a senior moment. But what else were we going to do here? Oh, I think I saw another comment come in. Here we go. Okay. John Wernsdorfer says there's a guy in Richmond, Virginia that has a massive Arctic collection. Check out on Marketplace. The gentleman's name is Sean Mongor. Yeah, thank you for the tip on that. We will look for that for sure. In fact, I may search for that during this next video and see if we can pull it up. We'll see kind of luck I have with that. But thank you for the tip on that. So what do we have next here? We're on item number 4. If you were with us last week, I did a live podcast with Charlie Valier over at the Top of the Lake Snowmobile Museum in Naubinway, Michigan. And we got about 20 minutes into it, and we lost the internet connection, so we had to cut it short, which was very disappointing. But we got a good 20 minutes of it. And then we also did another podcast with him this morning. So what I'm going to do is all through the season is take excerpts from the videos that we did with him and put them here on the podcast. And that's what we're going to look at now. Let me cue that up, and we're going to take a look at some footage from the Top of the Lake Snowmobile Museum, Naubinway, Michigan. Cool. So we are live right now. And welcome everyone. Welcome to the podcast. We're here with Charlie Valier, and he is over in Naubinway, Michigan at the Top of the Lake Snowmobile Museum. How you doing, Charlie?
Oh, we're doing bright and early. Had a little frost this morning, 28 degrees. We're ready for snowmobile season.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it won't be long. It won't be long at all.
No.
Well, cool. So, Charlie, tell us about this museum. Are you the founder of the museum, or is this your museum?
I'm one of the founders. We started in 2007 with the help from the community and other snowmobile enthusiasts, but we are the ones that run it and keep it going and do all that. It's our hobby.
Wonderful. Very cool. So since 2007, you've been doing this?
Yes. Well, I've been doing it a lot longer than that. I started doing snowmobiles when I got out of the Army in 1971. I talked my dad into being a Viking dealer. So he became a Viking dealer. So the 8 of us kids could get Vikings at cost. And it's been a passion ever since.
Wow. So you've never stopped?
Never stopped. No.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. So you've accumulated a significant collection of your own, I'm sure.
Yes, I've got a bunch of my collection here at the museum, but I still have another 150 sleds at home. Can't have all of mine in here.
Sure.
So yeah, we have a great mixture of sleds. We have 185 sleds in the museum. We're about the history of snow sledding. So that's why we can't have all of mine. We have to have a mixture of sleds because we're about.
Sure. So let's do this, Charlie. If you feel like turning your camera around, that way we can get a better look of what's going on there in the museum, and you can give us a walking tour and talk up what we're looking at. And to the viewers who are watching this, if you have comments or questions for Charlie, just leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll read that to Charlie, and hopefully we'll get an answer for you.
Sure. All right. My technology pulled through.
Yes.
All right. I got to show you something up here on the wall, what we start with.
Okay.
Walking back into the gift shop, we'll talk about that later. But up on the wall here we have where the history of snowmobiling comes to life.
Yeah.
And what we're all about is the history of snowmobiling. And we start with this first thing right here. It looks like a toboggan, as you can see, and it's called the Elias and Power Toboggan.
Yeah.
Made in St. Wisconsin. He's been blessed with the first manufactured snow sled. You can see it's got an Indian motorcycle engine on it. He built his first one in 1924 in St. Wisconsin, and then the military wanted to buy 200 in 1939. He couldn't produce the 200, so he contracted with the four-wheel drive company out of Clintonville, Wisconsin, to build the first 200 for the military. So he's been blessed with the first manufactured snow sled.
Yeah.
There's stuff being made then, one-of-a-kind stuff, but this is where it started.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Very cool.
And then, of course, we got all colors and kinds, and we tell people when they come into the museum that this section right here I'm looking at now, there's a Polaris and there's a Polar and a Fox Track, and right here in this community, Naubinway, we're called the Top of the Lake Snowmobile Museum because we're at the top of Lake Michigan. So that's why we're called Top Lake. So Lake Michigan, commercial fishing. Naubinway is a commercial fishing village, still is today. So back in the early days, you go 2 miles out in Lake Michigan, get 500 pounds of whitefish, or whatever kind of fish, but whitefish are what's here mostly. Away, get them off the ice after the dog sleds and the horses. When these rear engine machines came along, they used these machines right here in this town.
Wow.
Another big use was trappers. The guy with the Eliason, you can see here, he's got snowshoes on there. He wanted to get further into the woods trapping. So that's what he used it for. So trapping, commercial fishing, utility companies was another big use of them. Farmers, loggers, quite a variety of uses.
Yeah.
Of course, what we have today, race.
Yes. It seems like I always thought, as soon as the second snowmobile was made, that's when racing began.
Right. And we have, it's in the back of the building here. We'll get to that. But remember, here's one right here. This was a homemade. It was made 40 miles from here. It's called an Anderson. Anderson family made 5 of these. My dad, this for $5.
$5.
Had no idea what it was. Dad got it running. So then we found out what it was, and we found out they made 5 of them. But this has got you can see the beaver in it because they use them for beaver trapping. So there's here's one with an ice auger. It's a Trailmaker, 1964 Trailmaker made in Hibbing, Minnesota. This machine came with, you can see the wheel go around the front too, but you can see the wheel kit was an option. The snowplow was an option. And this is ice auger here. That was another option for them. I'll go to the front so you can see it from the front. Hope I'm not moving too fast, making somebody dizzy.
Sure. No, that's fine. But you're right. In the early days, it was more about utility than recreation, wasn't it?
It was. That's what it started for, was work, utility. That's what it started for. So there's the Trailmaker with the wheel kit, snowplow, and then the ice auger back there. Those were all options for them.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, but that's what they're used for, is to work. Here's a Bearcat made in Antigo, Wisconsin. Like 12 or 14 of those were made.
Yeah.
Here's a Snowbug. It was made in Sudbury, Ontario. This version is called a Love Bug, but because you sit side by side in it.
Sure.
They made different versions. Back on the wheel kit stuff here, this is a Scatmobile made in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah. This wheel kit or the skis. So this was kind of your forerunner to the four-wheelers that we have today.
Sure. So yeah, thank you so much to Charlie for that tour. And we went on we've got probably an hour and a half worth of material from that tour. We'll be showing you that throughout the season. And if anyone wants to take a look at those videos in their entirety, just scroll through the videos on this channel and you can check it out. But any thoughts? Anything jump out at you there, Rob?
Did I hear him correctly? He said he has 150 more at home himself.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the really antique stuff too.
Everything I've seen that was really old so far.
Yeah. He loves that rear engine stuff. And yeah. Yeah. I was fortunate enough to run into him at Old Forge, New York this summer at the VSCA national event. And we got to talking, and of course, that he's involved with that museum. I had to ask him, what do you think about doing some video, and it just worked out really nice because I've always been curious about that museum, as I'm sure probably you have, and to actually get a narrated tour.
I've drove past the sign about 12 times now.
Wow. Nice. Yeah. Sweet.
I guess I'm going to have to stop in there next time going by. I didn't think it'd be that big. Oh
yeah. Yeah. It's impressive. It's bigger than I thought it would be. For sure. And we've got some comments coming in. Let's see. We've got Dave Shiska says, hello from Brandon, Manitoba, Canada. How you doing tonight? And it looks like he's got a little shot glass there and a thumbs up. So, yeah, cheers. Cool deal. And then David from Alaska Railroad says, boy, how the sleds have evolved. You're not kidding there. Oh. Yeah. And it's true. They were more for utility back then. And you saw like the auger kits and things like that, and now it's all recreation. You wouldn't see that on a sled like that today. And then Stacy Nart Fosler said the sled with the plow on it, wondering if it had reverse. I hope it did. Good question. Excellent question. Next time I talk to Charlie, I'll ask him that. Cool deal. Let's see. What do we have next here? We're on item number 5. Now, we've got a regular viewer, Dirk Siems, who sends us footage quite often, and we very much appreciate that. He sent us some footage a little while back from a vintage snowmobile show in Elk River, Minnesota. Let me switch screens here. We're going to take a look at that. Yes, right here.
Well, we ran into a little bottleneck getting off the racetrack here under the trail. So we swung up high on one of the outside tracks here and got a thinner group coming behind us because they got lots of room. And then we kind of end up in a bottleneck up here by getting off the track. Kind of slow going for some of these higher performance sleds. That one was tough on the ears. The old Scorpion Bullhead. Must have been cruising through the woods, picked up a frog in front of that one. Well, we just got out of the lunch line here, and good pork chops. They've been cooking them since early this morning, so they can cycle the people through pretty quick. And so it's kind of a stopping spot after the trail ride, and got the nice heated pavilion here, and they got, I guess I was in there earlier today with all the John Deere sleds, and got the heated bathrooms over there. Pretty nice. Temperature could be a little warmer, but it's just not too bad here. Got a few more strays coming through. We got a couple old seahorses, or ski horses, I guess they call them. Yeah, there you go. So, anyway, this is the Elk River, and like I say, we just stopped for lunch. We're going to go hit the swap meet again here after a lunch and bathroom break. So that's the update for midday today.
Cool deal. Yeah, so thank you so much to Dirk Siems for that footage. Anything jump out at you in there, Rob?
I thought a seahorse was an outboard motor. I didn't know they made snowmobiles.
Yeah, you're right. It might be ski horse. Maybe that's what he meant.
That was a huge turnout. Oh,
yeah, big event. That's bigger than anything we have, because most of the shows I go to are northern Vermont and New Hampshire, and we have some nice shows by that standard, but nothing like this.
no. If we have 50 antiques show up, that's a lot. And
Sure.
there's got to be at least 10 people to tow 10 of them back.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looked like a nice event. Let's see. So we're on item number 6. Now, I've got to tell you some backstory on this. We're going to look at the history of how Ski-Doo came to America back in 1958. Most of the story will be told on the video, but it all started in 1958. The first Ski-Doo snowmobiles came to the U.S. through Lancaster, New Hampshire, and that more or less started snowmobiling in the U.S. So we're going to hear the story about that. The first location we're going to be at is behind the Lancaster Motel, literally a stone's throw from the back parking lot, and that's the first building where they set up shop for the for Ski-Doo in the U.S. Now, after a few years, they outgrew that. They went to a second location where they could have a larger warehouse, and Midge and I went over there to get some video, and we're starting to do some video, and someone came over in a security vehicle very quickly, wanted to know what we were doing, and told us we can't be doing video there. So we reached a compromise with the security guy. We said, well, what if we take 2 images, one from images from different angles of the building, and then Midge and I will just go away and do the narration of it, off-site. And he said that'd be fine. So we took 2 pictures and we went on our way. And then the third item I'll leave as a surprise. It's better to watch it than to hear me talking about it. Let me pull this up here. We're going to hear about the first Ski-Doo snowmobiles coming to America.
Folks, this is the original site of the old Sherman Motors building that was purchased by Timberland Machines back in 1958. They sold Bombardier products from Ontario, Canada, and they needed a branch store in New England. So Bob Bottoms, the manager of the store in America, he came to New England and he looked all over. He looked in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. He did an extensive search, and he just happened to look at Lancaster as being the center hub of logging back in the 1960s and the late 50s, and he settled on Lancaster as the branch store. And behind me is where the old Sherman Motors building was. It was a Dodge dealership. They went out, he purchased the building, and this is where the original Bombardier Ski-Doo came to America in 1959, right here. December 4th, 1959, the first Bombardier Ski-Doo came to America.
They poured it right into the building that stood on this spot.
This building is not the original building. The original building was torn down. This building was further down. They moved it up here. This building belonged to the old Thompson Manufacturing Company. And they moved it up here for a welcome center. But the original building, the Dodge dealership, that building was torn down. But it was in about this area.
You said it was at a different angle, huh?
It was a different angle. It was more like here, and I think it was more this way because there were some sheds to my left. There was a series of sheds where they kept the school buses back then. And so this whole area here was all Sherman Motors Company area. That building that Mike just took a photo of was the original site of the Timberland Machines building that they constructed in 1966. The reason they did that was basically because of the Bombardier Skidoo. Sales took off big time in 1965, 66, and when the building was finally finished in 1967, they were selling between 8,000 and 10,000 snowmobiles out of there every year. So they needed a big warehouse to house this new phenomenon that was coming on the scene. And so later, I think it was like in 70, 71, I think they were selling 10,000 or better snowmobiles out of there every year until the peak, until everything crashed and a lot of companies went out of business. But in the early 70s, it was still kicking. And if you would consider this, Timberland Machines had a big racing program, and Bob Fortin was the captain. Bob Martin was a team member. Timmy White, Frank Dodge, and so on. They had a pretty good race team there. They even built a little race shack out back specifically to work on the sleds. And the story was that Bob Bottoms would take $100 off from each crate that they were putting out of there. He would take $100 from each sale of the sled and putting it towards the race program. So you're looking at $100,000 race program.
That adds up fast.
And $100,000 back in 1970 and 71 was a huge amount of money. So you can see why Timberland Machines did so well on the racetrack was because they had a lot of funding behind them. And Bob Fortin was getting paid a salary, plus he could make anything that he made on the racetrack he could keep. So he was taking home $1,000, $1,500, sometimes $2,000 on a weekend from his winnings. And he didn't have to pay for any of the parts because Timberland Machines racing program furnished him. He could go to the stock room and grab a cylinder and a piston and whatever he needed to win races with. So it was an unbelievable program, and it put Lancaster on the map big time because everywhere Timberland Machines raced, they had Lancaster, New Hampshire was Timberland Machines on the side of their race van, and the 45-foot box, and that was an incredible time period really back then. Yeah. To have our town be so well represented by a snowmobile race team.
Yeah, for sure. Is there a picture of that truck and trailer anywhere? Do you know?
I think there is, and I think it's on the Stockwell Road right over here. So if you want to drive up there, maybe we can. Yeah, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. I can't tell. There's not enough scratched away to be able to tell.
Are there graphics on the other side too?
Yeah, faded. Worse. Way
worse? Okay, this is the good side?
Yeah, this is the better side. Because that side, the sun hits it.
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh, yeah, and then you get the post and the, yeah. Is there anything on the backside? Any graphics?
Yeah, there is. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
There used to be a railing on top, and I used to climb up to watch a race.
Oh, an observation?
Bob Bottoms and some of the dignitaries from Timberland used to get up on top to watch the races.
That's wild.
So this may not be that trailer, but you can get a shot of how the graphics were on the side of that race trailer, other than it being white and not yellow.
Yeah.
It's pretty much how it looked.
That is wild. So yeah, Ski-Doo in America. That's how it all started right there.
What's the chance of finding that trailer still sitting around there?
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Yeah, and apparently he knows the people whose property that is, so they were okay with us walking around there and getting video and everything.
Good.
So it worked out nice, yeah. But I can just picture, I don't know if that was the exact trailer, but he was talking about how they had an observation deck for the dignitaries on top of one of those trailers. And you can picture a lot of people up there watching the races and everything. Seems like that'd be a good vantage point.
Yes.
Very cool. Now let's see. We've got a comment coming in. Oh, here we go. Kevin Lowther says, thank you for the feature on tonight's podcast. Enjoyed riding in the day. We had quite an active club. One time, sadly, a lot of members have passed on. Oh, at one time. Sadly, a lot of members have passed on. A lot of great times and memories, though. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much for that image. And in case you're wondering what we're talking about, that was Kevin is the one who shared this image right here. So we thank him for that and for the story behind it. And yeah, those sure were the days. Yeah, you must have good memories as well of the 70s and everything around snowmobiling back then, Rob.
Well, I had a skidoo like that, but I had the seat lifted up and I had a toolbox built underneath to carry enough tools to make sure I made it home.
Yes.
And I always had an extra belt sitting on the handlebars.
Yes, belts and spark plugs and
yeah,
absolutely, a roll of duct tape.
Yeah, and when I was 19 years old, 20 of us, we had our own snowmobile club.
Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
we rented an old farmhouse beside a racetrack, and they let us use it all way along for us to go snowmobiling out of. We're 20 years old.
Sweet, yeah. So it's like your base camp almost.
Yep.
You work on the sleds in there, and then go on rides, and come back.
Every weekend, we all showed up there and took off on rides, and worked all week long trying to fix them again.
That's cool. Those were the days. Yeah, it's true. You work on them for 2 hours to ride them 1 hour in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody brought a rope, and everybody had to come along with them, and somebody always had snowshoes with them.
Yes. Yes. In fact, I remember finding out the hard way what happens if you're going to tow a machine, if you run a rope between both skis, and of course it pulls them together like, let me get my hands and pulls the skis together like this, and often can break a spindle, But I only did that once.
Yeah,
after that,
lesson.
Yes, after that we'd try to jam a big stick into the loops of each of the skis. So we've got a kind of a cross member there, and we tie onto that, and as long as that stick wouldn't break, we'd be all set.
Oh, we had a friend who had a device where he would take the skis off and turn them backwards and put the back of the snowmobile on his hitch on his snowmobile.
Yeah.
So we would tow the snowmobile backwards back home. That's
a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
low
had
friction.
We had to tow a lot of people home.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we did too. And I remember a lot of times when we'd tow, we'd have those sleds. It was like we called it, I think, a magic carpet sled. It was just a big piece of plastic that would roll up, and we'd keep that, and we'd put that underneath the track so you wouldn't have that resistance, Yep. And of course, that would always slide out from under there, and it was kind of a fiasco to do that. But
I still have a device called a banana.
Yeah.
It has a hitch on it. So every once in a while, I'd go get it, take it out in the lake, and put the snowmobile right on the banana to tow it back for the people.
There you go. Yeah.
Because the newer ones now are so hard to tow. They're so heavy.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. A lot of weight and probably the resistance because if the track, it won't turn. That's a lot of resistance.
Yeah. Back in the old days, that's how we got the name Fox Walk Back for the Fox track.
Yeah.
Because every time you went out on it, you had to walk back.
Walk back. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's see. We've got some more comments coming in. We've got David from Alaska Railroad says his 70 Arctic Cat had a 399 J-Lo in it. He worked on it 4 hours to ride 10 minutes. There you go. Yeah. And that ended when he put a 530 Polaris on it. There you go. And then Kevin Lowther says, make sure the drive belt is removed before towing. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, cool.
I met some city people one time. They were towing the machine down the road trying to boost it.
Really?
They thought if they could tow it fast enough,
they could jump start it.
The clutch would engage and it would start turning over. But the thing is, they were out of gas anyway, so no matter what they did, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen. No. You're right. A lot wrong with that picture. Well, cool. So we are on item number 7. Boy, this episode went by fast, but I've got an idea on what we can do for the last few minutes. But we've got item number 7. We're going to watch part 2 of those Ray Parenteau sleds, those Rupps we were looking at earlier. We're going to watch the continuation of that conversation. Let me cue that up. Oh, yeah, I've got a couple other things too. All right, let's take a look.
This one here is my first project. When I got this thing, it was literally a basket case, and had to totally disassemble this one, and I'm proud to say that this was my first project in this vintage sled thing, and it came out pretty good. I'm sure a perfectionist could pick it apart, but it goes great.
Yeah, it looks great. It goes great. And this got the whole ball started for you as far as this vintage project, the vintage hobby.
Yeah. We live here in northern Vermont, and I got out of snowmobiling. I never really, when I was a kid, these kind of sleds we could never have at our house. These are hot rods. I mean, we rode over bombardiers and motor skis, and something like this weren't going to happen at my house. So I came across the ad for this particular sled, and I said, well, that's pretty cool looking. I didn't realize what I was getting into, but anyway, I purchased the thing, and I stripped it down. Took it, disassembled the whole thing, and okay, I'm going to need this, I'm going to need that. And well, the thing about these vintage sleds, it's almost like the chase and finding it in the end is almost like the rewarding part.
Yeah.
And then comes the business part of it where, it's going to cost me how much? Yeah. And you trying to negotiate and so on. I will say this, in all honesty. If you like Rupps or Mercs and you live on the East Coast, you are going to earn anything you want here, because for some reason, the other side of the Great Lakes seems to be the best place to get this stuff.
Wow.
And all
Pickings are scarce around here.
Yeah, all our suppliers, the people that have got the parts and repop the parts, that is the area that they come from.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just looking at some of the sleds here while we're talking. But go ahead, continue your thought.
Well, as you're standing by that Magnum sled, while I'm building these sleds, I was thinking to myself, that's the one sled that I've got to have is a real 76 Magnum. That's the holy grail to me. That is the coolest, meanest looking sled that Rupp ever put together.
Yeah, that is one hot looking sled.
And that is a true cleated track, no conversion sled. That got the same treatment as my other projects. It's got all new panels. I had to repair the hood. The hood was as you can see, I don't know. I did a little bit of a custom paint job on it just because I wanted something a little bit different. And it's true to its name. It is a squirrely little thing. I got a chance to ride it just either back in my house here or out on the lake. They're pretty light. They're pretty light in the front end when you fill them up. It's amazing to me that they made this sled, but there's an option was the speedometer. You notice that one didn't have a speedo. You could put that on. The tack and the temperature were stopped. Being a racing sled, that has got you notice that has got a kill switch just like the sled out front. That other Magnum that I got. The tether,
the tether.
The handlebars are more like a racing configuration. And it's funny, this sled here, when I just looking at the thing, to me it's just eye candy.
Yeah, it's sexy. It is one of the sexier sleds on the snow.
Yeah.
Between the stance and the lines and
You know, if you're a guy that loves Rupp snowmobiles, the one thing about Rupp, they stayed to their colors. They knew that red looked hot.
Yeah. And
whether they added black or whatnot, but they absolutely stayed to the red, and there's a reason for that, because they pop.
Yeah.
They pop.
And you're right, it's good contrast off the snow too when you're in their proper environment.
Sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, cool. Yeah, what do you think of that?
He's got them looking great. They're great looking machines. I'm surprised he's missing two things out of the collection.
Go ahead.
Arctic Cat mini bikes are popular. Oh, they're rare to find.
Oh, yeah.
The Rupps, the Rupps mini
The Rupp bikes, yeah.
And then Rupp had a three-wheeler thing that was really cool. That's hard to find too.
They did. And they had a four-wheeler too, almost like a little dune buggy. In fact, I saw one today. I like magazines from the 70s. I was looking at an old Mechanics Illustrated from, I think, 1972. And they had an ad in there. I'll maybe take an image of it and put it on here next week. But it was like a little four-wheel, almost like a mini dune buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really wild what they were doing. Very innovative.
I'm surprised some of the companies didn't stick it out. Like Rupp was coming, they were coming along, getting popular, and then all of a sudden they just quit.
Yeah.
Mercury soaked a pile of money into race teams and got real popular. Then they just pulled the plug.
Yeah. And a lot of those, like you said, especially with Mercury or Evinrude or John Deere, they had the financial ability, if they wanted to stay in the game, that they could have, because they were part of a much larger corporation.
Yeah.
You know, but somebody in there behind a desk, I'm sure, just decided, well, the numbers aren't working. Let's pull the plug. Yeah. Yeah. It's really unfortunate. And as I mentioned earlier, Ray Parenteau, who we're just talking to, who's got these Rupps, this is one of his latest Rupps that I have not seen in person yet. And I want to remedy that. I've been making plans with him to go up there and do some video on that sled. I can't wait to hear the story on that, as to how that came to be and if he did a restoration on it. And he does most of the work himself on those sleds.
Nice work.
Yeah, really impressive what he does with those. And we've got some comments coming in, and we've got a couple more things to do here. Here we go. John Spranger Jr., regular viewer. He says, awesome Rupps, very nice. And then David from Alaska Railroad says, totally agree on what he said about the 76 Magnum. It's an amazing machine. And I would have to agree, too, as far as the entire Rupp lineup over the years. That's probably the sexiest one. Would you agree with that?
Oh, that's a great looking snowmobile.
Yeah, that is hot. That is hot. Now, I've got a good friend of mine, Jeff Gibbs. He loves the podcast, and we're good friends, and we talk snowmobiling whenever we get together. Now, he's got a snowmobile trailer for sale. He sent me some images, and I promised him that I would put together a little montage with some music under it to help him try to sell his sled. So if you like what you see here, and if you're in New Hampshire or Vermont, give him a call. His number will be on here. Let's take a look. Cool, yeah. So that's the snowmobile trailer of Jeff Gibbs. That is for sale, and it's in the Hanover, New Hampshire area. So if you're curious about that, his number is on there. Just give him a jingle. And if you do give him a jingle, be sure and tell him that you heard about it on the podcast.
Good sized trailer to pull.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Any final thoughts before we wind down the podcast? Or
great show. I like those Rupps on there. I've heard people talk about, there's a guy in the States who's rebuilding the Merc Twisters.
Oh, really?
A replica. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not, but I'm curious. If anybody viewing this knows anything about that, please be in touch with us. We'd love to get in touch with the person and maybe do a profile on them or bring them on here live.
Yeah, I heard he's trying to start his own class of 340, 440 class, just twisters. Yeah. He's making a reproduction. That way the people doesn't have to take their old collector ones out and race them. Yeah,
because those are very popular for racing.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and they do well racing too.
Too well.
Too well, exactly. So that's a smart idea to take that and try to reproduce it. And yeah, that's and I'm sure even how do I say this? He could probably make a decent profit on it too, because I'm sure you could get not overcharge, but charge a good amount for it, enough to cover your costs, make a nice profit, and still at a price point that's worthwhile for racers to want to do it.
He could make a lot of money off selling parts when they smash them up.
Yeah, because they do bang them up on the track for sure. Yeah, that's a great idea. If anybody knows anything about that, please be in touch with us about that. We'd love to bring him on, give him some publicity, and it's a great way for us to all learn about it and see what the story is there. Now, David from Alaska Railroad says, thanks for the show, Mike and Rob. Great to be back on sleds. Absolutely. It is absolutely. It's fun to be back. I mean, I love the Muscle Car podcast and everything, but my heart is in this vintage snowmobile stuff. And it's great. We're just starting a new season. And
I love snowmobiling too.
Yeah, for sure. And just so many memories of around, the 70s and all the vintage stuff. And It was just a wonderful time. And I was just a kid, but I have wonderful memories of that, as I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of the Muscle Car Podcast, Rob and I are doing that every Wednesday night. If you're curious about that, there are links in the description where you can watch past episodes of the Muscle Car Podcast. And wherever you find it, visit there every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. and you'll find live episodes. We're on there every Wednesday night going live, 9 p.m. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let me change screens here and queue up our video. As always, we give the last word to AMSOIL. So yeah, thank you so much, Rob, for coming on. Thank you to all the viewers.
We'll see you next week, and great broadcast, Mike.
Yes, if I live. So anyway, with that, I'm going to get out of me coughing here and give the last word to AMSOIL. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice evening. Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today, we're going to be talking about AMSOIL. And in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your AMSOIL products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what AMSOIL is and why you should consider using AMSOIL products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. AMSOIL is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses AMSOIL for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that AMSOIL is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because AMSOIL doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And AMSOIL likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of AMSOIL is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slipperier type lube, it cuts down friction drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, AMSOIL says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the AMSOIL bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the AMSOIL. AMSOIL's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero.
Wow.
If you ever tried petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So AMSOIL is an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running AMSOIL than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And AMSOIL is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that AMSOIL has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the AMSOIL experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
AMSOIL has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, AMSOIL will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer, you save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. AMSOIL sends you extra gifts, a $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account, and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value. And this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering AMSOIL. Is that correct?
It is.
Wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an AMSOIL order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to AMSOIL.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, AMSOIL.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the Preferred Customer Program page, where you can take advantage of all these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil. And you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've joined the Preferred Customer Program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click Add to Cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and your the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click View Cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order that gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of the Signature Series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click Checkout Now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an AMSOIL account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name and those types of things. Now let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to AMSOIL. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike LaPierre. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I've signed up for AMSOIL under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. And the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for that, for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your AMSOIL Preferred Customer Program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a vintage snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the vintage snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters, free DVD requests, so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering AMSOIL as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from AMSOIL, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from AMSOIL. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the AMSOIL marketing plan. AMSOIL has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing, or hot rods. We have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business. I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing AMSOIL for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with AMSOIL. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So if you need some coaching on how to generate AMSOIL leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes. And just by wearing my AMSOIL hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about AMSOIL. People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the product.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
AMSOIL's a fun business. AMSOIL's been around since 1968. It was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the AMSOIL products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the AMSOIL products or to join the AMSOIL team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.